Hello and welcome to another video. Today I hit Legend in Go Battle League. I went all the way from Veteran at the beginning of yesterday up to Legend today with this team right here. Lapras double counter user in Mountain Cup. Obviously it's strong. The main point of this team is to use Lucario to lure out the Mawile, which you're gonna see a lot, or which I saw a lot anyways. And then you can sweep with the Cavalier in the back. Also, Lapras with Water Gun is just the best Pokemon in this meta, in my opinion. It's so strong. Going right into the first game, we lead into an Escavalier, and you might think this is a bit of a core breaker, but Lapras actually has a pretty good matchup against it. So I like to stay in, and because they threw after only 7 counters, I know this is only a drill run, so I can take it. You want to throw ideally in the middle of their 8th counter, because you don't want them to catch, which a lot of people do, try to catch the serve, but you also want to get it off before they get to their Mega Horn. They shield it, we don't. We swap in this Cavalier, and they have a Runerigus in the back. Yeah, this is very bad. They actually shield this move as well, which I wasn't expecting. And I'm thinking at this point that my Lucario only needs to get to 1 Shadow Ball in order to take this out. But it still has a bit of energy, so this is a very, very tricky position to be in. I bring in Lucario, but he just goes straight for the Sand Tomb at this point, and that's just so tricky. It's because it debuffs my defense, and I have to shield it. They get to another one, so I have to shield it again, and now my Lucario is just going to be very, very low, and they still have that as Cavalier. Yeah, Runerigus in the back is a big problem. I swap in my Lapras just to reset the debuffs, so I can bring a Lucario again now to get even more energy, because I kind of need the energy. But the Escavalier still has like half health, so yeah, that's just very tough. Very, very tough match in the first game here. This meta overall is just a lot of games where you're gonna either win hard or lose hard, and unfortunately, I don't know what to do against this team. Next game, we lead into Macago. Much better. They swap in Lucario, we swap in Escavalier. Important detail, do not throw your move. You're gonna lose CMP. You just want to shield once, farm the Lucario down. Then come up with a lot of energy. I'm thinking I want to throw 2 counters, because if it's Incinerate, I want to throw in proper timing that way. I should have thrown after 3 because it's Ember. That way I would have left my Escavalier with less health. But this is also fine, we take it out, and it's an Abomasnow in the back. You see a lot of these teams with like a fire Pokemon in the lead, or a Razor Leafer, and then the opposite in the back, like fire in the lead, Razor Leaf in the back, Razor Leaf in the lead, fire in the back. Yeah. Next game we lead into a Wishcash, very good lead, especially if it's running Water Gun. They save swap a Lucario, same procedure, do not throw. Even if they throw after 7, it can be a close combat, so you still want to shield it. And now you can just farm it down. Come out with a lot of energy. And it is a Water Gun Wishcash. I'm thinking I can get to 2 moves, and since people usually don't like to shield the first one, like statistically they shield the second one more often, I go for the Mega Horn first, and then the drill run. This person does go for the shield first. Maybe they're watching my videos, because I have explained this before. Maybe they just decided to shield the first one. Bring back in the Lapras. It's a pretty good spot. And they swap in an Escavalier. This is bad. I go up, throw the Surf. I think they're at 6 counters now. So I swap in my Lucario and just hope I can counter it down before it gets to 2 drill runs. I think I can with this pop, which is why I throw it. I could have also made the Shadow Ball, but I'm pretty sure that, yeah, the Power Pump is gonna leave it in range where I can counter it down before it gets to another drill run. And that is the case. Can we get to another pop on this Wishcash? We just can. Whew. That was very close. If the Wishcash had farmed us down, it would have gotten out with like almost a Mud Bomb. That would have been very bad. Next game, we lead into a Lapras. The way I like to play this is I like to farm up a lot of energy, let them throw their energy to buff their defense, and then I force them to swap out right after they've buffed their defense. Again, Lucario is the safe swap because Lucario gets to a move against Mawile, which Escavalier doesn't. They swap into an Escavalier. The reason why I go for pop is they're always going to shield this, and I'm thinking I can leave it with the extra counter damage here. I might be able to leave it in a range where it only gets to one move on my Escavalier, and then I can farm it down. But you're going to see that's not exactly the case, and I do play it differently in later matches. Shield the first one. Can they get to another one? They just can. That's so bad. I think the idea was pretty good, but just didn't happen. And then they bring in a Diggersby, and I go up. And I don't know if this was lag or if we were just both waiting. Like I was waiting a turn to throw in the middle of their mud shot so they couldn't catch it. And then you see I stop tapping. I wait to see if they want to swap in their lab press, because I was considering sniping them because with all the energy I had on my lab press. But I thought they would anticipate that. So I stayed in with my Escavalier instead, and then they swapped in their lab press because they thought that I would snipe them. So they wanted to tank the surf on their lab press. That was a very, very fun play. It might not look like much, but I think that's a very, very high skill play. And then we get to the surf on the Diggersby on CMP. Is this enough to take out the Diggersby? No, it isn't. It lives on like 3 HP or something, gets the fire punch off, and we go down and only get a 3-2 in that set. Next game, into another Lapras lead. Let's try this again. Go up all the way to the Skull Bash, allow them to throw first. Hope they buff their own defense, they do, and now we force them to swap out. Save all the energy, and there's another Escavalier in the back. This time I play it a little differently. I go for the Shadow Ball, and then I only throw one counter after this to leave it with more HP, because it's gonna get to 2 moves anyways, so I want to leave it with more HP so I can farm down even more after spending both my shields here. But this Escavalier is running Acid Spray, which is so annoying. I was planning on shielding twice anyways, but yeah, this extra counter damage is kind of painful. We get the farm down, come out with quite a bit of energy. I could have probably even only like not thrown any counters after the Shadow Ball to leave it with even more HP, but go for the Drill Run on Mawile. They shield it, go for the Surf. They swap in their own Lab Press. We get to the Skull Bash. This is just tough. Like, this team with Mawile Escavalier in the back is just, I think it's impossible to beat, really. Yeah, they get to serve on my Escavalier, my Lucario. There's not much to do. Next game we lead into Lucario. Here you just kind of have to try and apply pressure. So I swap in my Escavalier. They swap in Mawile, and we just get to a Drill Run to get the shield, which is huge. Usually Escavalier doesn't get to a Drill Run on the Mawile, but this time I did. I think I got the new mechanic as well. So now if I can call the bait or the nuke correctly, I think I have play here. And I call it correctly. It's a play rough. Now the Mawile's not going to get to any more moves, and I'm going to come out with a lot of energy to throw at that Lucario. Except, it's not a Lucario. It's a Razor Leaf, a Bomber Snow. Yikes. Swap in Lucario after grabbing the shield. Can we counter their Lucario down? Come out with a move? We counter it down. Can we get to a Shadow Ball? We get to the Shadow Ball. And somehow we end up beating this team. Absolutely magical. Take out the Abomasnow with one Shadow Ball. Next game, we lead into a Shadow Abomasnow. Yikes. Swap in Lucario immediately. They swap in Mawile. And as I say, Lucario does just get to a Shadow Ball against Mawile, which Escavalier doesn't do as consistently. So here you do get to grab the shield, which is why I like to use Lucario as the safe swap. And we bring back in the Lapras. They throw immediately, so it's only a pop. It takes 7 for a pop, and I think 12 for a play rough, and 10 for an Iron Head. So yeah, they get to another pop. I'm just kind of praying that it's not another Fire Fang user in the back. I'm expecting it to be another Fire Fang user, because that's just something I see a lot. See if I can save the energy, bring in the Escavalier, and it's another Fire Fang user in the back. Again, this is a meta where either you're gonna win big in a lot of games, and then there are a lot of games where you're gonna lose big and not have a lot of play. And that was just another team where there's just no play. Next game, we lead into a bit of a different Pokemon in Skarmory. I haven't seen this a lot. Always, you want to throw as late as possible in case they Brave Bird, but also you want to make sure you throw your moves before it gets to 2 moves. So after 9 is a good time, because then you can throw after, like, before it gets up to 10. It takes 5 for each Sky attack. They bring in a Lapras. Very important detail against the Water Gun Lapras save swap, which you probably see a lot. You want to counter swap Lucario, because Lapras actually has a pretty good matchup against Escavalier. And then you want to go up to right before they get to the second serve after shielding the first one, and then go for the power punch as late as possible to come out with as much energy as possible. And because the Skarmory is only one move away from getting to a charge move, I go for the Shadow Ball here, because a pop would not have been enough, and I wasn't expecting them to shield. And then they bring in a Diggersby, and we get to another pop, and this is gonna hurt, because it's already ramped up. They let it go, and we bring in Escavalier. Escavalier can tank one Fire Punch, so this is pretty safe. Yeah, now we should be able to just shield once, counter them down. We could have also no shielded and water gunned them down, but yeah, not a lot my opponent can do here. And we take out the Diggersby. Next game, we lead into an Abomasnow. Yikes. Save swap Lucario immediately. And they bring in a Golurk. Oh my god. And here, Lucario does not get to a move at all. So we just get farmed down. Very yikes. Bring back in the Lapras. And Golurk can learn Dynamic Punch. So I decide to shield this. But they bait. I don't really like this bait for my opponent. They do get to another Shadow Punch because of it. But yeah, it's not really all that important. And then they bring back in their Abomasnow. But it's a Powder Snow Abomasnow. So we might, if we can pull out some real magic here, I go for the bait, expecting them to shield. And we grab a shield. I think I have to catch, like, do something really magical in order to win this. So yeah, we shield the energy ball. Go up to the Skull Bash. Go for another bait. I know I am a filthy, filthy human being. And then we throw another couple of water guns and catch the energy ball on Escavalier. Yes! And we get the counter through. And they have a Sandslash in the back. Very cool spice. It doesn't like Mega Horns though. This is not the most bulky Pokemon in the world. How much does this do? Boom! It takes out the Sandslash. And now Abomasnow just can't do anything against Escavalier. And we actually end up winning that game. Looked very bad in the beginning. Next game, we lead into a Wish Cash. Against an Escavalier save swap, I like to stay in and throw a Surf. I do this every time. This is the way I play against every Escavalier save swap. And then I bring in my own Escavalier, and I just shield twice and farm it down. I don't want to go for a CMP, because my Escavalier has 0 attack. And I don't want to risk losing CMP. I'm probably going to lose most CMPs, so I just choose to shield twice. This is just a safe play. And nothing wants to take this energy from Escavalier. It's going to hurt no matter what comes in. Or like almost nothing. I think I can get to 2 Mega Horns, so go for the first one. And they shield it. And we go for the second one. This does so much damage. Yikes. Bring in the Lapras. They bring in a Ferrothorn. And yeah, this is one of those games. Yeah, pretty easy. Pretty straightforward. Next game, we lead into a very pretty Lapras. Shiny and with a bow. Or, no, not a bow. What is that called? Scarf? Scarf. I am good at English. Again, same procedure. Let them throw the move, and then force them out. Lucario. And they bring in a Sky Score, and I go up to 1 before they get to the Earthquake. Because if I were to throw the nuke, I would want to throw it as late as possible to come out with as much energy as possible. So if I want to make my baits, like if I want to make my opponent think I am not baiting, I have to do the same thing when I'm baiting. And at this point I'm thinking I can probably shield this and get to a Shadow Ball, and then they're not going to have any shields, or they're going to give me Switch. And I think that's a pretty good spot. I do go for another counter before, just to leave my Lucario with less health, in case they no shield, so they will have less farm on whatever they bring in afterwards. But they do shield. Now we can bring in Lapras, go for the Surf, swap out immediately. They have a Ferrothorn, and the perfectionist in me wants to throw this on CMP, but I had miscounted by 1 turn. So they get to the Surf first. It doesn't matter. Like, I can just counter the Lapras down now. The Ferrothorn can't really do much against the Scavalier unless it has Thunder, but even then I'm just gonna outpace it so heavily. So let's see how much a Mega Horn does. Boom. And we get to a Drill Run as well. Very nice. I've seen a few of these teams just being ABA weak to fighting, but again, Lapras with Water Gun is pretty good against Scavalier, so yeah. Against the Celio lead, it outpaces to 2 Body Slams before you get to a Skull Bash. So I'm thinking they're going to want to throw both of their Body Slams before I get the chance to buff my defense, which is why I can farm up on Lapras, let them throw both of their Body Slams, because they're going to be dry or almost dry at this point. I think they're dry. And then I can swap out, save a lot of energy, and then lure out if there is a Fire Fang user in the back. But it's an Escavalier again. Yikes. Go for the Shadow Ball. And again, I should have probably done no counters here to leave it with even more health, but I do 1 counter. Now my plan is to go bring in Escavalier. Please, please do not have Acid Spray. I beg of you. Please. It has Acid Spray. Come on! My plan was always to just 2 shield, come out with a lot of energy. Now, what do they have? They have a Mawile. And again, this Escavalier Mawile backline is just so difficult to deal with. I go for the Drill Run, swap out, they swap into their Celio. I was expecting it, so I go for the Skull Bash, or I wait to see if it comes in, instead of just sniping with my Surf. And now, can we take out this Celio and come out with the Surf for the Mawile? We might have play if we can. We just can't. And now we're just gonna get Fire Fang down. Yeah. Escavalier Mawile backline. I don't think I've won against any of them. It's so tough. Another Lapras in the lead. I've seen so many of these. I don't know if you see as many. I think I had like 52 of these on Go Battle Day. Something like that. Wait, they go for the Surf. I bring in my Lucario. They still have a lot of energy. I'm thinking they must have a response to Lucario in the back. So I decide to let this go even though it hurts. And I'm right. They have a Gliscor. Very nice that I get to lure this out with Lucario. This is also a good thing that you can lure out Gliscor and Fire Fang uses. Very nice AVB team overall. And I want to throw quite quickly with my Lapras because it's close to 100 energy. I don't want to go over. And I mean, hindsight, probably should have undercharged. I wasn't aware of this matchup that well, but they get to a Night Slash. No problem, we can tank it. Bring in Lucario, I bring in Escav. They're not going to get to 3 charge moves, so I'm just going to shield whatever they allow me to shield, which is why I shield even though I knew it was a Power Punch. They do a lot of damage with their counters. Can we get to 2 Drill Runs here? I have a lot of energy on Lapras as well. We get off 1 Drill Run. Is 1 Water Gun enough to take us out? No, we get to another Drill Run. Now they have to shield again. And Lapras still has so much energy. Their Lapras doesn't really have all that much energy. I think a Surf was probably enough, but Skull Bash is the safe play because they're not going to get to 2 Surfs. We take out the Lapras. Yeah, that was definitely overkill. In the last game, we lead into a Gliscor. Shadow Gliscor. Very nice lead. They swap in Lucario. Swap in Escavalier. They throw after 7. I assume it's close combat. And it is. And we come out with a lot of energy and a lot of health. And because I have such a good Escavalier, it can actually get to 2 Mega Horns on Shadow Gliscor. I tried to CMP tie them here. I went 1 over their Night Slash because people don't allow me to CMP tie them anymore. So I'd like to try go one over. Maybe they're gonna see tie me then. But we get to 2 Mega Horns instead. They shield the first one, and this hurts so much, even though it's resisted. I'm thinking they might have the Scavalier in the back, and this is gonna be the move that hurts the most, because I assumed they would go for the Earthquake, but they didn't, and they have Lapras in the back. So because it was a Sand Tomb, I was forced out because I was defense debuffed. Now they bring in Lapras, and we get to a Power Punch, but this Lapras still has a lot, not a lot, but it still has some HP. Can it get to a Skull Bash? It is Energy Dry. It gets to a move. What is this? I think it's a Surf. It is a Surf. And we tank it easily. The Gliscor still has 5 wing attacks worth of energy, but it's just not going to get to an Earthquake, and we take it out. And that was the last battle of a 4-1 set. I'd gone 3-2 twice, where I got exactly 1 elo. And now I went 4-1, and we went up to 3001. I was kind of nervous before this, but we just made it to Legend. Very nice. That was the last battle for today. And of course, I would recommend this team, unless you're at an elo where you're facing a lot of Escavalier plus Firefang in the back, or double Firefang users in the back. This just works very well. Other than that, fun fact of the day, Watergun Lapras beats Escavalier in the 2 shields, unless Escavalier decides to just counter it down, because Watergun does more damage percentage-wise than counters from Escavalier does to Lapras, despite counter being super effective. It sounds ridiculous. Try and look it up on The Sims. Other than that, I know I've been gone for a while. My exam finishes on Wednesday. I've been very busy with it. I won't be doing daily uploads after that, but I will be back to regular uploads somewhat. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.